Sid the Baker here, welcome to my kitchen. Well, Easter's rapidly approaching, so I thought I'd knock out a few hot cross buns. Now this is also the same recipe as bun loaves. I've just got one question. Are you with me? So for hot cross buns we're going to need 14 ounces of flour, half a teaspoon of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of mixed spice, 1 ounce of melted butter, 2 ounces of sugar, 4 teaspoons of yeast, 1 egg, 6 ounces of sultanas, 2 teaspoons of lecithin, that's the bread improver, remember, and 6 ounces of milk. Now we boil the milk and we let it cool down to tepid temperature. We boil the milk to get all the enzymes out, because the enzymes tend to kill the yeast. Once you've boiled them, they're fine. Okay? Right, so the first thing we do, we get the milk, which is now cooled down to room temperature, and we put the sugar in with the milk, and we also put the yeast in with the milk, and we're going to leave that for around about 10 minutes so that the yeast will start to work and it'll get all frothy on top. Right, so as you can see, the yeast and the milk and that are all nice and frothy now, so they're ready to use. So, next step, we basically put everything in the bowl. Put the flour in, the salt, the mixed spice, the butter. Now the butter doesn't need to be completely melted as long as it's soft. You just don't want hard butter rattling around the bowl. So as long as it's soft, it's fine. There's the butter and the egg. And 2 teaspoons of the dough improver. This will keep the buns nice and soft when they're made. And I'm putting the yeast and the milk and the water. Now I'm leaving the sultanas out. I'm not putting them until very near the end. And the reason for that is because if they go around in the mixing bowl for too long, they'll start breaking up. Right, I'm going to mix this now for about 10 minutes. This dough has been mixing for 10 minutes now, and as you can see it's all stuck to the hook, so that means it's ready. It's not stuck to the bowl at all. So the next stage, I'm going to add the fruit at this stage now. We've got to get the rolling pin and just pin it out like this. And we've got half of the fruit there now. I'm using sultanas. You can use currants, you can use a mix of currants and sultanas. Orange peel, any sort of dried fruit that you want really. Doesn't really matter, whatever taste you've got. I'm just using sultanas in this. Right, so roll that up and pin it out again. Incidentally, with this one we're making bun loaf and hot cross buns, as I said at the very start. If you just wanted to make half a dozen hot cross buns or just one bun loaf, half the recipe. So just do whatever's on the recipe, but do it by half. And then you can either make a bun loaf or some hot cross buns. But as I'm doing both, this is the recipe to do both. So we've got all the fruit in that now. Next stage is to let it proof for an hour. Now those of you who have seen my previous videos, especially on bread making, will know that I use the slow cooker as a prover. I just set it onto the warm setting, get a plastic bowl, put the dough in the bowl and plonk it in the prover. And there we go. We'll leave that for an hour or till it's doubled in size. This dough has been rising for around about an hour, and as you can see, top, more than doubled in size. Oh, knock it down. There we go. Now, as we said, we're going to do bun loaves and we're going to make some hot cross buns. Just get my scales here. So for the bun loaf we want a pound of this dough. There we go, pound on a pound. And again, those of you that watch my bread recipes will know how to mould bread. And it's exactly the same. So we mould it and we shape it like a long sausage like that. We'll put it in the tin. Now that tin is going back into the slow cooker, still on the warm setting. Now the rest of this we're going to divide into 6 equal sizes. Let's see what size. I'll just try it 4 ounces. Now, if you're moulding by hand on the table, you can feel if they're the right size because they'll feel right in your hand. 2, 3. Take a little bit off that, put it onto that. Right, so there we have 6 buns. Now, on the baking paper, the non-stick baking paper, remember, not grease proof, place them on. So that's the buns moulded. Now, those who watch previous videos know that we made a homemade prover. Just a heat lamp in a box, job's done. We get the heat lamp from the pet shops or off the internet. This is actually a night one, but it still gets really warm in there. So we just slide that in there. Now, what I also do, I just put some boiling water in. Just in a little container like this. Let's put some boiling water in with it. That will make steam. And that'll keep those buns nice and moist. Now, you don't have to worry about your electric bulb because with that being hot, the steam won't touch it and it's perfectly safe. So while those are proving, we've got a couple of things we need to do. Do you ever wonder how they get the sticky top on the top of your buns, a nice glazy bit? Well, I'm going to show you now. 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar, a little bit of hot water, a good stir, and leave it to set. And that's your glaze for the top of the buns. That will make a nice sticky bun. Now, you also want to make the cross for the bun. So for the cross, about 2 tablespoons of ordinary flour, a little bit of water, and we're going to make a paste out of this. Just a slightly runny paste. Make sure all the lumps are out. There you go, you've got a slightly runny paste there, and we're going to pipe that on top into a cross when the buns are ready. As you can see, the bun loaf is now ready. It's come to the top of the tin. We're going to put it in the oven at 150 degrees on the fan oven, and it will take around about 20 minutes to bake. Right, so just Put it in around about 2 inches from the bottom of the oven. Leave it there for about 20 minutes. It's been about 20 minutes now, and this bun loaf is ready. And there it is. So we take it out of the tin, and it should slide out easy because it's had the non-stick paper. Take the paper off it. Now remember that sugar and water we mixed before? Just get it like that and just brush it lightly over the top. And that will make a nice glaze. And there you are. Put it on there to cool. Oh, we've got the bun loaf done. Now it's the turn of the hot cross buns. These are now ready. They do take a little bit longer than the bun loaves because this brew is not quite as hot as the slow cooker. But there you go, perfectly timed. Right, I want to get quite close in for this shot and then you can see what's happening. In the midweek we showed you how to make a paper bag out of the baking paper. There it is. So you're going to need the paper bag. And you're going to need that mix that we made before. This is the flour and the water mix. Put it in the paper bag. There it is. Now then, if you get your paper bag and you just squeeze the top together, just like that. Now I'm going to just snip the end. I'm just going to snip the end off the paper bag, like that. Now, what we do now, we just run the mix over the top. We don't let the bag touch the bun, otherwise that bun will fall down. So we do that way, and then we do it that way. Just like that. And then I've got the oven at the same setting that we had for the bun loaf. That's 150 degrees on the fan oven, about 2 inches from the bottom of the oven. Handle them very gently, you don't want to knock them down. And those will be about 15 to 20 minutes. So we've been around about 15 to 20 minutes, and these buns are now ready. Now, the same as with the bun loaf, we get the sugar and water mix and just brush it lightly over the top. That will give it a nice glossy coat. So that was it, ladies and gentlemen. That was hot cross buns and bun loaves. It's quite easy, wasn't it? And we've got ice buns coming up next week, so tune in for next week. Don't forget, if you like what you saw, like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications, tell all your friends. Let's just see what it tastes. Perks of the job. And if I've got one word of advice, never trust a thin baker. See you next week.